Chip Tam and football. That's what Pittsburgh does. Brian Batko here from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, one of your Steelers beat writers. Thanks, as always, for finding the show where we are trying to be joined by a fun guest every week. This week, we've lucked out with one of the most recently released Steelers. So he's now officially a former Steeler, Breiden Fehoko. Unfortunately for him, he was the odd man out on the defensive line. But fortunately for us, he's a great interview, really fun guy to chat with, and has a ton of insight on the players he just spent training camp with at St. Vincent College. So that's what we'll talk to Breiden about. And this show is brought to you by Pella. There's no better place to get new windows and doors installed in your home than from Pella. They can help you save on your energy costs year-round. Schedule a free in-home consultation with your local Pella windows and doors to find the right product for your home and your budget. Give them a call at 866-593-1560 to discuss your project further. That's 866-593-1560 to get started planning your new windows and doors installation with Pella Windows and Doors of Pittsburgh. Okay, let's turn it over to Breiden Fehoko. All right, there he is. Initially number 96 when he was first with the Steelers, and he was 79 when he circled back around this time, a week into camp. Now he's joining us officially as a free agent. First of all, Breiden, is it true that you actually requested your release because the Steelers practice playlist had too much Kendrick and not enough Drake while you were out there?
I guess I had a little Cordarrelle Patterson influence, but no, it was all good fun. I mean, it was great to see those guys, for the time being there. Everybody was happy. Everybody was also sad. I mean, I've got like 12, 13 phone calls and a bunch of text messages I got to reply to, just because everything happened so fast the last 2 days. But no, it wasn't true because of the Kendrick, even though I am a Drake fan. But we'll save that conversation for another day.
For sure, yes. We are here to talk some football, but we got that out of the way. In all seriousness, no, it sucks to find yourself caught in the numbers game yet again, but I know you were pretty aware of the situation when you hopped on the moving train back on August 1st, I think. Are you glad you're at least around for a couple preseason games, that joint practice with the Bucs, and some good times on Latrobe at least?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those deals where if you're unless you're a bona fide, free agent in this league, or, one of those free agent Pro Bowlers, if you get signed this late in camp, you kind of know what the deal is, right? I mean, you're pretty much an insurance policy. Whereas if, they have guys on the roster, if they don't pan out, if you have draft picks, if they don't pan out, you're kind of the insurance guy. And so I kind of knew what was, the matter of business going into it beforehand. I wasn't blindsided.
Right.
But nonetheless, man, it was great being around those guys. Great meeting the new guys as well. I came in and, all the older guys and the guys who have been in Pittsburgh, kind of knew who I was. And so a lot of the new guys in the room, a lot of the new guys on the team were kind of like, oh, who is this guy? Like, he's new to us, but he's not new here to Pittsburgh. Why is everybody kind of gravitating towards him? So it was cool. I enjoyed my time in Latrobe. The fans were awesome, even though they kept calling me Troy after every practice. Couldn't get over that.
Like Keeanu a little bit.
It was crazy. I mean, I was in a 79 jersey.
Yeah.
I'd keep my jersey on just for the fact that he's not 76, but people were still calling me Troy. So I ended up signing Troy Fautanu signatures. I apologize to Troy ahead of time because I signed a few signatures. I just put TF 76 on like a couple dozen, maybe a couple hundred fans on their footballs and whatnot.
Right, well, if you see Troy Fautanu memorabilia on eBay, just make sure you do a verification or something so that we 100%. Make sure it's not this jokester. Before we get into your football intel, how was like the home run derby and the rookie talent show? Did anybody stand out, good or bad? Sometimes bad is good, I guess, in that setting. But did anybody catch your eye?
I think Ben Sauls, the kicker, he caught my eye. Everybody was a little disappointed, and Christian Kuntz just, he's the hometown kid. You expect him to finally, walk off with one, but he's yet to win a derby. He's
like the Bills. He's like the Buffalo Bills of the Steelers home run derby.
It is. He is. He's setting himself up for disappointment every year. I mean, during warmups, he was cranking them out of the park, and he was hitting them over the fence. And when the lights turned on, it got too bright for him, and so that he was a big disappointment, a huge let up. But Kyler, the defensive lineman as well, he was a surprise. I mean, he was a natural. I think Jack Sawyer was another natural that kind of took me by surprise. You kind of find out a lot about your teammates and their athletic history if they played, multi sports and just being able to swing a bat. So you find a lot about guys. You see who's the jokers. I mean, Deshaun Jameson got up there and he didn't hit one ball. He didn't make one contact. So, it was good. It was fun. That was, the Derby and the rookie show this year. Max Hurlman did he was the best this year. He did an impression of Ben Skoranek and his fanboy relationship with A-Rod. Everybody rolled. It was the highlight of the rookie talent show. I expected a lot more out of YA and D Harm. Their performance was a little shaky, but
would they try? Because I actually gave Derrick Harmon a suggestion to do first day out and get up there and rap that, given that he's from Detroit. But he was probably like, "Who is this sports writer talking to me about this? Get out of my face!" He was very nice, but I assume he didn't take me up on that.
Yeah, him and YA did the rendition of White Chicks when they were in the club doing the dance battle to "It's Tricky" by Run DMC. They both got up there with blonde wigs, and it was cool, but it was just kind of weird to see like a 6'5" and a 6'6" black dude up there in a wig, and they were kind of uncoordinated. So, but it was funny. It was all good fun and games. But I expected a little more out of them. But no, man, these are good memories. You're gonna remember, along the road when you're done playing football. Long after this.
For sure. Well, I want to talk about both those guys on the field too, because you're spending a lot of time with those two rookies. Let's start with DJ. When I first met him, he introduced himself as DJ back in the spring. So DJ Harmon. What stands out to you about him? Obviously, he got his first sack in the preseason the other night, and that was huge for him. And it seems like that was something that can only help his confidence going forward.
I think what stands out to me about Derrick is his athleticism as a football player. I think he has, for a bigger guy, I think he's maybe 6'5", 330 something. I'm trying to be modest here, but he carries it really well. Long legs, long arms. His ability to flip his hips, but also have power at the point of attack. I was really impressed in how he played the run in practice, in games, and I think his bright spot is being able to adjust to the game a lot quicker than most rookies. I think that's where he gets the nod. Is he played in a 3-4 defense in college, at Oregon, and so he's very familiar with playing a 4-eye. You get a lot of defensive linemen from college that you get them to just Pittsburgh alone, and the way they ask their defensive linemen to play, how to play blocks, how to read and recognize and play certain plays and formations. It's tough. It's really hard. So
it's grunt work, isn't it? At the end of the day, like it's dirty work for sure.
It's dirty work, 100%. But I'm really impressed by his athleticism, and I think his maturity really sticks out to me as well too. He holds himself like a young veteran. And before I left, I told him, man, just go ahead and keep attacking it, keep grinding, keep your head down, and the future is bright for him. And he's a really good dude.
In YA, he's an interesting character, from the sheer size of him to the name to the belly hang out of that practice jersey. And then the couple times I've talked to him, it's a little tough to get a read on him. You know what I mean? Like, what did you make of Yahya Black too while you were out there?
Man, when another huge rookie. They the front office did a good job of drafting two just physical specimens on the defensive line. Both plug in and play guys. They're both going to play meaningful snaps this year. When I think of YA, when I talk about Derrick, I said the word that stood out was athleticism. When I think about YA, the word I think about is rugged. And I think about just how he looks as a player. He doesn't wear gloves. He doesn't tape his ankles. He doesn't tape cleats. He just started putting on finger tape, and if he didn't need to wear that elbow brace, he wouldn't. But I mean, he played at Iowa. When you think about Iowa players, you think of grimy, hard workers, grass-fed studs that just, will be physical with you for 4 quarters. And so when I think of Yahya Black, I think of a tough, rugged SOB that is going to play hard. He's going to put his hands on you. He's going to create a new line of scrimmage. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited for those two rookies, being around them. They're more than ready to play meaningful snaps this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so, of course, you got to get into real game situations. You got to play the Baltimore Ravens in regular season matchups. You got to play the Bills, these good teams, and that's when you find out. But I think the ceiling's high for both of them. I'm really excited. YA is another guy. He's mature. He's got that goatee looking like he's 35 years old. So
he looked even older when he had like the kind of pro thing before he cut that down. He looked like he was transported from the 70s steel curtain to 2025.
He did. He looked like he probably hopped in a time machine and could play in any era of football. But man, I'm excited for both of those guys, man. Two really good rookies that that I'm really looking forward to just see their careers kind of just develop and take off over time.
I got to ask you about someone else you're clearly excited about. With the Steelers, the defensive line, they're like first cousins of the outside linebackers, the edge rushers. You guys do a lot of stuff together that involves trying to bring the noise on quarterbacks. So Nick Herbig, I feel like he's kind of like everybody's little brother on the team. And you tweeted, I still say Twitter, I don't care. You tweeted a Brinks truck gif about Nick the other day. What makes you, and I know you don't just put stuff out there for no reason, what makes you so confident in him in the present and obviously in the future that he's going to be somebody who really maximizes his potential?
Well, when you look at Nick Herbig, you look at his body of work as a reserve outside linebacker and his productivity. In that sample size, he's best in the league, as good as anybody. When you talk about quarterback hurries, sacks, forced fumbles, his productivity per snap count is tops in the league. And I've told Nick this. I said it's unfortunate that he's playing behind two of the best outside linebackers in the league, a top three duo, I should say. But I said for 28 other teams, 29 other teams, I'm confident that Nick Herbig is a starter in this league. And without a doubt, I mean, whether it's after this season or, whether it's after year 4, if the Steelers decide to extend him or, if they decide to let him walk in free agency, somebody will pay Nick Herbig starting money in the NFL. He will make $100 million in this league. I mean, he's too good of an athlete. He's twitchy. He has a repertoire, a deep bag of pass rush moves. I mean, Nick has it, man. And the crazy thing is, with Nick, as a reserve player the last 2 years, he wasn't afforded the opportunity to come in games, right, as a rusher and kind of get into the groove of hey, let me figure out what move works for me against this tackle, right? Because that's how edge rushing in the NFL works, right? You got to throw combos, you throw a jab, then you throw a haymaker or you throw a counter. Nick wasn't afforded that.
With best stuff immediately and say, I got to get a sack here and make this work.
He had to, and he did it. And he would come in. There was a stretch last year where, he got in there for Alex. I don't know how it was 3 or 4 games where he started. And Nick had a sack and a forced fumble nearly every game. He was winning games for us. And so I'm so excited to see his growth. He works really hard in the offseason. I'm excited to see everything that's going to come his way. And when I tweeted those Brinks trucks, I meant it. Somebody's going to pay him 25 plus a year in this league. And I'm excited to see him get it soon.
Yeah, it just takes one front office to say, let's extrapolate his production. And I have a feeling it's going to be the Steelers. I don't know how they'll make it work with the money and the personnel, but I kind of have a feeling they aren't going to let him leave. And it's crazy that you say that too, because I can remember covering the draft that year, the lead up to it. I'm like, this guy just looks like a Steeler. He looks like mini TJ. But then you had all these people saying, and even after they drafted him, people saying, he might have to play off the ball. He's not big enough to hold up as an edge rusher, even an outside linebacker. Well, I think he's put some bulk on, but he's clearly, there's no question now about tweener, position fit, anything like that. He's just getting it done at a high level.
100%.
So if you're running an NFL team, Breiden, you're investing a lot in Nick Herbig. I think Little Nicky's a cool nickname, but I don't know if that'll catch on. I know you also would love to be a GM someday. For now, at least, you're armchair GMing like a lot of us in the media and the football fan world. So I'll ask you this question. With the first pick in the 2026 NFL Draft in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Browns, Colts, or Saints select. Who's it going to be?
Don't shoot me on this one.
It's August. It's August 20th or whatever.
I like Carson Beck a lot next year.
Ooh, that's a contrarian take. You don't really see him up there very much. You're betting on the bounce back.
I think him staying back alone this year and staying another year in college football, going to Miami, I think helped his draft stock, and he hasn't even stepped on the field yet. I think he won the draft this year, and he wasn't even a part of it. I know there's the Arch Manning hype, right? I get it. It comes with the last name, the Manning last name. It holds tremendous weight in this sport. But I'm not sold on Arch Manning yet, right? I mean, if Arch Manning was the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, he would have started last year for Texas. No offense to Quinn Ewers, right? But Arch Manning, right? Steve Sarkisian would have gave him the tools, and from day one, right? If he's the future first pick of the draft, he's this and this, you're starting him from day one. That's my whole philosophy. I don't think he has a full body of work for me to just go ahead and declare him in a mock to be number one next year. I think he can be a top 10, top 15 pick just based off of the quarterback class alone next year, right? I think there'll be a good run on quarterbacks next year with, Beck, Nuss, Arch, Sellers from
South Carolina.
I think there will be a good run on quarterbacks next year, but I think Carson Beck to me kind of just shows like stability at the quarterback position. I think he's a safe pick. It was kind of like a lot this year. I like Jackson Dart coming out a lot. I thought he was the best quarterback in this year's draft, just from a ceiling perspective. So it's hard for me in Pittsburgh next year with the first pick. It's hard for me to go. I know everybody's going to be like Arch Manning is the guy, this and this and this, but I think Carson Beck is the safe pick. I think he has a really good season this year in Miami. And I think he's number one. I think you go with the experience and just the age of him playing football in the SEC. Now he's going to be playing in the ACC. Let alone if he takes Miami to the playoffs this year, I think it's icing on the cake. I think it just fills out the resume that he's built already. So that's where I'm going with it. I know a lot of people won't agree with it, but that's just my take on it.
That's why we're having you on for the difference of opinion. There's nothing wrong with being outside the hive mind, I guess. And you're normally seeing Cade Klubnik and Drew Aller a lot more than Beck. But yeah, I'm also of course curious. I think a lot of people, myself included, see the Steelers taking a quarterback in the first round next year too. And I don't know if they're going to have to trade up into the top 10, top 5, top 15. I remember somebody telling me once, I think I was talking to Rex Ryan about something, and he's like, the Steelers want big, strong, strapping quarterbacks. Like, that's what they're attracted to. So I've always kept that in the back of my mind, but I don't know which way they'll go. They will have a lot of options to choose from, and obviously we've got a whole college football season still to play out to give us more insight on that. But, all right, well, last thing for you, Breiden. If you end up jumping into this media world with both feet, if you could choose any Steelers player, I'll say past or present, because there's guys who have cycled through since last time you were here, to have on a podcast or co-host with you, who would it be?
That's a great question. Well, I think
Aaron Rodgers would get you a million views every week, probably.
Funny. Me and Aaron, like randomly, but me and Aaron got really close in the last 3 weeks I was there.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that because you were stretching, with him one day, and he's going around trying to learn everybody's name and stuff. So
yeah, so we got close there, and the relationship was through. I played in LA with Corey Lindsley and Brian Balaga. Aaron's old lineman. And so Corey kind of set the tone for us. He was like, hey, go up to Aaron. I won't disclose what he told me to say to him, but he's like, go say this, and this. And then me and Aaron kind of popped off. But going back to your question, I think if I could have somebody co-host with me, I think it'd probably be, man, I think James Harrison would be a great host just because of, his very bullish, scary look. But when I met James last year, man, when he spoke eloquently. He had a lot of knowledge about the game. He's somebody I could sit there and just talk with for an hour and just listen to him, just whether it was for advice or whether it was knowledge about the game. I think he'd make a great co-host. Obviously, Cam's got his thing going. Christian Kuntz has got his thing going. RC's got the pivot. He's on it. I mean, there's a lot of guys.
Ben Roethlisberger's
Ben's got his footballing. I'm going to stay away from Antonio Brown. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he's sort of in the media world, but not necessarily the right reasons. I did not think you were going to go Debo. That is not one of the people I would have predicted. Obviously, I was thinking someone a little more gregarious, but yeah, I think people would tune in every week to see what James Harrison has to say on life or football.
Yeah, you could. I mean, definitely. If I did a podcast with James Harrison, I think it'd be like in a weight room setting where the podcast episode is a workout, and we're just talking like while the workout's going, talking about different topics. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do with it. But I mean, he's a great dude. I've always been a fan of him as a kid, and even I think another guy that I'd like to do a podcast with is who was he was the backup nose tackle for the Steelers on the Super Bowl team.
Not Casey Hampton, obviously. Chris
Hoke.
Yeah, he does a lot of media already here in Pittsburgh.
Hoke,
Hoke's great. Yeah, he's on like the post-game call-in shows and stuff. He's really good.
I saw that, and I saw one of his videos, and I was like, man, and he spoke so well of the game, and I didn't know much about him. I didn't know much about Chris Hoke, and then I read his bio. He was on the Super Bowl team, played nose tackle. I'm like, wow, this guy's like, he's me. Like I mean, obviously,
he's a hero. Like the true like Steelers fans back then appreciated him and respected him. But he wasn't like a huge name outside of Pittsburgh by any stretch.
No, for sure. And I mean, I never got to meet him, but definitely a fan of him. A fan of. I talked with Cam about it. Cam was like Chris Hope was another one of those guys, like you said, unsung hero. Did his job in the media now. So between those two, between Hoke and Debo, man, I think we'd do numbers and kill it, obviously.
Yeah, get a trio there. Well, hey, Breiden, kept you long enough. I appreciate it, man. Is there anything you want to add or tell people about before I get you out of here?
No, man, I'm excited. I'm excited for Pittsburgh this year to see what they do. I'm excited for the draft class. A lot of good guys there. A lot of great guys that develop relationships with. I think the fans are in for a treat this year. I won't get into too much detail because week one's right around the corner, and I don't want to, give out game plans and stuff. But they look good. They look healthy, and it'll be a good year for them.
Absolutely. Well, hey, thanks so much to Breiden Fehoko. We will see you guys right back on the other side of this break, and hope you enjoyed the episode. All right, that was now former Steelers defensive lineman Breiden Fehoko with some funny anecdotes, some good, good tea and some insight from inside the lines from rubbing elbows with these guys. And he's somebody who, he didn't end up carving out a huge role on the team, obviously, but it was always fun to chat with him in the locker room and at training camp. So I figured that would be fun. And thank you as always for finding us here at Chipped Ham and Football on the Post-Gazette Sports Network. I'm Brian Batko. We'll be back with plenty of coverage of tonight's third and final preseason game in Carolina. Plenty more stories to come as well as they get ready to set the 53-man roster. We'll talk to you next time.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.